Hello everyone, welcome back to another video. I want to talk to you about some interesting and important stuff today. The first one is the fact that Bethlehem, the birthplace of Jesus, peace be upon him, has cancelled the celebrations for Christmas. In fact, next to the statues of Jesus and Mary, peace be upon them both, they put what resembles rubble in solidarity with Gaza. Now, many Christians celebrate Christmas on the 25th. Some Orthodox Christians celebrate it on the 7th of January. And we as Muslims believe that Jesus was born in the end of the summer. So anyone celebrating, we wish them obviously all the best wishes, whether it's now or if they celebrate it later on. I wanted to also talk to you about a related subject when it comes to Christianity and Palestine. I mean, Palestine is the birthplace of all major religions, and Palestine has always been a country of unity between religions, between Muslims, Christians, and Jews. That is up until Zionism came, the death cult of Zionism came and occupied and started stirring hatred and division between people. And I want to talk about one Christian monk. His name is Antonius Hanania. Antonius Hanania sparked social media interest globally after a couple of statements he made. So what did he say exactly? Well, he said that if Israel demolishes all mosques, we will raise the adhan, the call for prayer, from the churches. Say everything. We will say everything that's included in the adhan from the churches. And he also didn't stop there. He was interviewed a couple of times, and he also mentioned that as a Christian monk, he is also a fighter and a devotee. He's a resistor as well. And he was also asked if he would be willing to go and actually fight. And he said, if I have to carry weapons, I will, like the Muslim sheikh does. I will to go and defend women and children who are being killed, and I will not be a silent devil. Now, Israel obviously tries to always make it out as if it's a religious battle between the Muslim people and the Jewish people, which is not only absurd and detached from reality, but also very malicious in many ways, because Israel, Zionist Israel, targets anything that contradicts it, whether it comes from Jewish people, whether it comes from Christian people, whether it comes from Muslims, or if it comes from people, followers of no faith really. But they like to label and stir division. This is how they thrive. They thrive on hatred, on division, on killing, on demonizing other people. This is how they are able to function. It's one of those countries, Israel. However, it didn't just end with Antonius Hanania. As a matter of fact, Israel a couple of days ago, they commit obviously atrocities every single day because they're a death cult. They're like a satanic death cult. But the other day, they randomly decided to shoot 2 women in a Catholic church in Gaza. Snipe them. Shoot them down. 2 women. Unarmed. Not doing anything. They decided that they want to shoot them. So they shot them and killed them. And killed both of them. And this sparked outrage in the Catholic Church. And it also led the Pope himself, imagine, to label it as terrorism. Although it's late, I know, because we already know that obviously Israel is a terrorist state. But for the Pope to actually say that what Israel is doing is terrorism is very important. It's important for more and more people, leading figures from every religion, from every background, to actually say it as it is. Say it as it is. I mean, they control people by fear. To this day, many people, although the masses are waking up. I mean, the campaign that the mainstream media is pushing to scare people off supporting anything in Palestine and demonizing Hamas and demonizing the Palestinian resistance, it's failing miserably. And it's better late than never that some people are waking up and calling Israel as it is, a terrorist state. It's very important. The second thing I wanted to talk about is the coalition, the American coalition of warmongering. apparently they're not succeeding even with a fraction of countries that joined them. So at the moment, it only seems that the only countries that are fully involved in this coalition with their full force with America, under American leadership, are Britain, Germany, and Greece. France said that all French ships will be under French leadership. Italy said it's only sending one ship. The other countries are sending like one or two officers, apparently, in this coalition, in this peacekeeping coalition that America is leading. So these people are failing to actually get people on their side, because more and more people are waking up to the fact that the United States administration and many of its Western allies are nothing but havoc wreakers in the Middle East who cause nothing but damage. They commit all of their atrocities under beautiful banners: democracy, human rights, women's rights, and similar banners, and then they commit the worst things that, like I mentioned it before, Satan himself is ashamed of, whether it's in Iraq, Afghanistan, other countries, and obviously America. They have a very rich and diversified history of wars and warmongering and corruption spreading all across the planet. So they're failing with this peacekeeping coalition against Yemen. And also, this is not stopping Yemen from increasing the tone with them. They told them, we have things that we haven't showed yet. And apparently, this is increasing to other areas. So we heard a report about Iran targeting a ship in the Indian Ocean. So it looks like something is increasing there. And it's not only limited to Bab el-Mandeb and the Red Sea. And the fact that many countries are refusing to join America just clearly shows how America is losing its trust and status. And when I say America, I mean America as a politics, America as a war machine, America as a corporation, America as the military industrial complex who uses people as cannon fodder and then sends them back home to be drug addicts suffering from PTSD for the rest of their lives and committing suicide on a daily basis. This is the America that I mean, not the American people who are waking up to what's happening and what their country is doing and standing up against tyranny, whether it's against the American administration or the Israeli administration and their crimes against humanity that they're committing in Gaza. And Israel is suffering really heavily from what the Yemenis are doing. I mean, 85% of Israel's scars come from Eilat, which was historically called al-Rashrash before it was occupied, by the way. So people are having delays in everything to do with their cars, and it's used for multiple other important things, and they're getting massive losses. Prices are increasing for insurance. Everything is going up in prices. It's intolerable for many people, obviously. So Israel is suffering massively, and we've had an important development a couple of days ago where, as far as I remember, the Iraqi resistance didn't target al-Rashrash directly previously, but this is the first time, as far as I recall, and excuse me if I'm wrong, they targeted al-Rashrash, and they said we have targeted Eilat a couple of days ago. That was about 2 days back. They usually targeted the American bases in Iraq and in Syria, but to my knowledge, they haven't directly attacked Eilat or any of the Israeli territories. We've had a report once that a UAV attacked Eilat from an unknown source, and many people suspected at the time that it came from Syria, but it wasn't confirmed where that came from. And obviously the Houthis in Yemen, they declare every attack that they do against Israel, most of them are declared. They'll say we attacked with X amounts of missiles or UAVs, for example. So that's a very important development, probably as a signal that we can extend this. This is also resonating with what Iran is saying, that if it's attacked, firstly, they said that we have no control over what our allies do, and we're not going to basically take off fires for you on anyone's behalf. they're independent and they act independently. And we as a country haven't been involved directly, which is technically true. I mean, even if they have proxies or they have movements, Iran as a country, officially, they didn't declare that they did something, etc. So they support them, obviously, they're close allies with them. But from a legal perspective, from an international law perspective, they did not attack directly, so therefore they don't have the same repercussions as anyone who does admit to attacking and committing acts of war or any type of attack against Israel or against any other countries. Because America and Netanyahu, by the way, they're trying to drag Iran into this. As a matter of fact, Netanyahu, I've stated this before, he is trying to expand the war and extend it as much as possible, and he wants America to fight on his behalf. And even the American administration, they're not gonna buy into everything Netanyahu tells them, even though I personally believe that America is a direct contributor to all of this, and if America did not want this, it could have prevented Israel from doing anything against Gaza, in my opinion, because Israel relies heavily and almost solely on American support, American airplanes. You've had 60 airplanes coming in full of ammunition and weapons in the first couple of weeks to Israel. So they're giving them almost indefinite support, but saying that they don't indefinitely support them with all political decisions that they make. And they would be totally naive not to realize that Netanyahu is doing this for his own sake. And Iran also threatened that they haven't seen anything yet. They told them, if you attack us, you will see things that you haven't seen before and haven't even considered. So imagine all of this without direct Iranian involvement, or at least official Iranian involvement. Imagine what could happen if they actually go into it and start using their massive capabilities. And they have many capabilities, and America has many, many weak points across the Middle East that Iran can easily target. And also its allies can definitely have much more input than what we've seen so far. The other thing I wanted to talk to you about is we yet again saw a massive day of attacks against Israeli forces in Gaza. I previously stated how Golani withdrew, some major Israeli divisions and brigades withdrew, and they introduced these amateur divisions, amateur brigades, to go and fight for the holy Netanyahu war. And they're getting a massive obliteration in Gaza. I mean, there was a report yesterday from the Palestinian resistance. A group of 5 Israeli soldiers were hit by a direct RPG missile and they were blown into pieces. And they also lured a group of Israeli soldiers, approximately 12 of them, to a house. And this is the interesting part. Many Israeli rockets, some of them weighing a ton, haven't detonated. As a matter of fact, I've seen one image today and it's astonishing. I mean, astonishing. Where is this? Why isn't this all over the news? A bomb that weighs a ton on a school in Gaza, housing refugees who fled their houses, that hasn't detonated. Imagine it detonated. And it did in a couple of other schools, killing hundreds of people. Where is the world from these acts? Where is the outrage? Where is humanity? Where is basic dignity, basic decency? Where is it, really? So Hamas, they use some of these rockets that do not explode. They connect them to their own detonators. They lure Israeli soldiers to these detonated places, and they explode this massive bomb in them. So one of them was weighing 1 ton, and people said it was a massive explosion in Gaza. And even Israel admitted, several ministers, that they had a very hard day in Gaza yesterday. So the resistance is at full force. They're still in control of the battle. And many reports that we've heard previously, Israel used to say that some of the resistance forces in the north of Gaza lost contact with the resistance forces in the south of Gaza. And this is also clearly a lie, because Israeli analysts are confirming that the Palestinians are developing their methods in resisting Israel and are moving capabilities from the battlefield in the north to the south and vice versa. So they know exactly what Israel is doing. They're passing it on to each other, and they're becoming even more sophisticated and clever in resisting the Israeli offense forces in Gaza. The last thing I wanted to talk about is the previous IDF deputy chief, Yair Golan, who I spoke about previously, has come out with very, very harsh criticisms of what Israel's doing in Gaza. I spoke about how he participated in the protests against Netanyahu and his judicial reform. He used really harsh, very harsh words against him, and he was one of those people who actually called on people not to serve in the army previously, even though he was a deputy chief in the Israeli army. But despite that, he participated in the beginning of the war, and then he kind of ended his bit, came out, and now he's criticizing Israel and its politicians and leaderships even more. His biggest criticism was for the Israeli defense minister, Yoav Gallant. Yoav Gallant said that we will reach Yahya Sinwar and we will kill him. So these people, I don't know what planet they live on, really. I mean, they're getting an obliteration and annihilation in Gaza. They're sending their troops to die for nothing. And he's saying that we're going to reach Yahya Sinwar. Is he delusional? Is he delusional? You have no clue where the basic day-to-day fighters are. You don't know where your hostages are. And you think you can reach one of the most secured people in Gaza? They're delusional, completely delusional. So he criticized them, and he said it was stupid and pointless, literally. And he also said that the political leadership doesn't have clear objectives of the war. We, according to him, we're losing the best of our sons to a war that doesn't have clear definitions. It doesn't have clear objectives. And he criticized the notion that they are still going after Hamas to obliterate them or crush them, destroy Hamas, like Netanyahu is saying, because he said it's unrealistic. So he's criticizing Israel by saying that Hamas is the only group that will be able to release the hostages, and you won't be able to reach a hostage deal with them unless what he described as taking the sword off their neck. If you keep the sword on their neck, you're not gonna get your hostages. He reiterated that Hamas went into this war with very clear vision and thinking, and that they expected the level of Israeli retaliation because they know what Israel did to Lebanon in the Dahiya in 2006, and they know what they did in the previous wars in Gaza. So they were expecting that, and they weren't naive, they were well prepared for it. But they're still sophisticated. He said that Hamas told Israel, you thought, according to him basically, in the 7th of October attacks, he said that Hamas is basically telling Israel, you thought you can manage the conflict, you thought you could decrease the conflict. We came and showed you that you can't. So he's criticizing Israel heavily in how it's managing the war in Gaza, how it doesn't have clear objectives, the fact that they're sending their troops to war without these clear objectives, and he even called again for an election. So these were the main things that I wanted to talk to you about today. I hope I added some beneficial information for you, and I'll hopefully see you soon in the next video. Take care.